Right. The June 15th, 2026 legislative session of the Anne Arundel County Council is called to order. Please ensure all phones and electronic devices are set to silent. Mr. Smith is going to lead us in the invocation, and then we have some guests with us from Troop, remind me, what number? 214, I'm sorry. Troop 214, who are going to come up and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. So.
Please stand. All right, please pray in a manner that is consistent with your faith as I pray in one that is consistent with mine. Dear Heavenly Father, we come before you today with gratitude for the blessings of liberty, justice, and opportunity. We ask for your guidance upon our government leaders at every level. Grant them wisdom to make sound decisions, courage to do what is right, and humility to serve with integrity and compassion. Help those entrusted with public office to seek the common good above personal interest. May they work together in a spirit of unity, respect, and understanding, especially in times of challenge and division. May your peace guide our nation, your justice shape our actions, and your grace sustain us each day. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
God salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Madam Secretary, please read the ethics statement.
The Ethics Commission has asked that I advise you that under certain circumstances, members of the public may qualify as lobbyists when they testify before the County Council. If so, the law requires that certain information be filed with the Ethics Commission. The Chair of the Ethics Commission has asked that those who wish to testify in any form review the general information on lobbying sheet located on the Ethics website under Forms and Publications. If there are any questions about lobbying requirements, please contact the Ethics Commission at 410-222-4412.
Before we open our discussions and public hearings, I would like to remind everyone in attendance, whether testifying or as a member of the audience, that we must maintain decorum at all times within these chambers. Please understand that individual conversations in the audience are very disruptive to the proceedings, and I would kindly ask you to step out of the chambers if a side discussion is necessary. We will now open our invitation to the audience. This is an opportunity to speak briefly on any subject not included in the printed agenda. Madam Secretary, did we receive any testimony through the online testimony tool?
Yes, Madam Chair. We received one piece which was shared with the Council, added to the record, and posted to the website.
Okay. We will now call on individuals who signed up ahead of the meeting. When I call your name, please come up to the table and have a seat. When it's your turn, state your name and address for the record. Remarks will be limited to 2 minutes. Please listen for the buzzer and respect the 2-minute time limit as others are signed up to speak. If you have more than 2 minutes to share, I'm going to ask you to submit your additional thoughts using our online testimony tool. Matt Minahan, Bradley Schneider, Aidan Gilmore, and Maura Cartagena. Mr. Minahan.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the Council. Matt Minahan, 3651 First Avenue, Edgewater, Maryland. Congratulations on the unanimous passage of the FY27 budget last week. It's a huge lift to consider all the elements at a $2.6 billion budget and make all the trade-offs it requires. Most of the Council amendments made good sense. However, delaying the funding for Valentine Creek does not. Council members Rodvian, Pickard, and Hummard made an excellent case for proceeding with the project, which would add another element of water access to residents of the county. We read the engineer's assessment of that parcel. It has many challenges and limitations. It won't be easy or inexpensive to prepare for additional access, but it makes no sense to stop the funding stream that's been ongoing for several years, only to try to restart it at greater expense in another year. We fear that NIMBYism and election expediency have combined to make this a silly and mistaken decision. This raises an opportunity, however, to consider how the county selects and funds the conservation and preservation of land. Right now, these actions compete for limited funds with recreation needs. And while water access is important and a clear and urgent need, this parcel is so difficult as to make it a marginal improvement. What if the county had a separate conservation and land preservation fund that did not compete with recreation parks for capital projects? As one of our GAN members says, we shouldn't be taking money away from Mary and Harry's playgrounds in order to conserve and preserve forests and land like this. So we're going to give some more thought to this, and we'll come back to you in the future, but we want to plant the seed for that now. And finally, we're pleased to see the charter amendment resolution tonight on the Planning Advisory Board, and we hope that you'll support it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Minahan. Yes, sir. Go right ahead.
Good evening. My name is Aiden Gilmore. I'm a rising junior at Archbishop Spalding High School and an Eagle Scout with Troop 249, chartered by American Legion Post 226. When most people think about scouting, they think about hiking the Appalachian Trail, sleeping on a frozen lake, or earning merit badges in topics ranging from automotive maintenance to artificial intelligence. These are certainly memorable parts of my journey, but what scouting has given me is something much greater: the opportunity to learn how to lead, serve, and make a difference in my community. One of the most influential experiences in my scouting journey was attending National Youth Leadership Training. There, I learned leadership is not a position, it's an action. I learned how to communicate, plan, solve problems, and inspire others to work toward a common goal. These lessons continue to guide me today in scouting, at school, and in every other part of my life. Throughout scouting, I've participated in conservation projects, supported veterans, and spent my summers volunteering at scout camps, where I've had the opportunity to teach younger scouts and help them develop confidence, skills, and leadership of their own. My Eagle Scout project was an opportunity to combine those leadership lessons with my passion for nature. Through my training as a Seton Scout naturalist, I realized that many of the people who walk through our parks and communities every day don't know the stories behind plants around them. For Anne Arundel County Recreation and Parks, I designed and installed educational signs along the South Shore Trail to help visitors learn about native plants and their role in our ecosystem. My hope is that these signs encourage curiosity, learning, and a deeper appreciation for the natural world. While the signs are the visible result of the project, the real impact of scouting is what made the project possible. Scouting taught me how to organize a team, lead volunteers, overcome challenges, and create something that will benefit Anne Arundel County for years to come. Earning the rank of Eagle Scout is not the end of the journey. It is a commitment to continue serving others, to lead by example, and to leave every place better than I found it. Thank you for your time and for supporting scouting in Anne Arundel County.
Thank you, Mr. Gilmore. Thank you for your work on the trail. I look forward to seeing it, to going out and checking it out. So appreciate that very much. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Good evening. First, I want to wish each of you good luck in the elections, the upcoming elections next week. Over the past several months, I've had the privilege of speaking at the Glenburn Improvement Association about the proposed trail to Corcoran. And what has stood out has been the conversations I've had with community members. The questions are always similar. Why is the county pursuing this project? Has the county truly engaged the community on this decision? Too often, I don't have answers to these questions. But what I do hear is the most common message from the residents is they want to be heard about this project. Today, I received a letter from the Department of Recreation stating the goal of the project is recreation, and the community input was gathered through a county survey. However, many residents still question whether the process reflects the concerns of those most affected. A good leader does more than just make decisions. Good leaders listen to people they represent and act on their concerns. At the last appearance, I suggested perhaps it's time to pause and listen to community members before moving forward with this project that continues to raise significant concerns. Today, I ask you to do that. Whether you return after election or a new member will be taking your place in office next year, I hope that you will take this time to listen to residents affected by this project, engage with them with meaningful discussions, and consider community-driven solutions before acting on their behalf. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Vice Chair Smith, and fellow members of the Anne Arundel County Council. My name is Michael Brown. I live on Timber Cross Lane in the community of Tanyard Springs. I want to offer my sincere thanks for passing the 2027 Anne Arundel County budget, including the supplemental budget that included funding to address the 2 bridges in the Tanner Springs community. The bridges have now been closed for nearly 22 months, so nearly 2 years. I know the progress has been slow in getting to this point, but securing this funding is an important first step toward restoring these bridges. As the project moves forward, I would appreciate clarification regarding the procurement timeline and whether the project will proceed through a competitive bidding process. Residents are very eager to understand the next steps in the anticipated schedule. Next, I would like to talk about the Tanner Springs Park, which is just a stone's throw away from one of these bridges. I've had numerous conversations with DPW and Department of Recs and Parks concerning the maintenance of the park. Thanks to the Department of Recs and Parks for getting the majority of the park mowed. It was getting quite high, but an area that's still 2 areas that are still of concern is the front section, the monument area. It still looks like trash, very high grass. I'm curious to see what options are available to the county to address this issue. I brought this up and showed pictures with you guys the last meeting. It's in the front where 90% of our community members come in and visitors. It makes the community and the overall area look really bad. The next area is behind the ball field and adjacent to the multi-purpose field. That is where there's a trail. And with the uptick in ticks this year, especially the Lone Star tick that has the alpha-gal syndrome, I encourage the county to address this high grass as soon as possible. Thank you.
Sir. Thank you. Is there anyone else here who wishes to speak on an item not on the agenda at this time? Okay. All right. Come on up. Come on up.
Can I start?
You can go ahead.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Lenny, and I recently graduated from Crofton High School. I am an Eagle Scout, and we are all from Troop 114, chartered by the Prince of Peace Church. Did you know that Scouting program is one of the largest youth-serving organizations in Anne Arundel County? We wanted to provide county leadership with an update on the Scouting program in Anne Arundel County for 2026 to share some positive long-term impacts that Scouting has on our community. We will each tell you about our Scouting journey. Troop 115 impacts its community by doing its main service activity, which is volunteering at Olympican Walks. We help run activities at the historical building. We also help clean up sticks and doing yard work. We have many Eagle projects dedicated to restore the historical building and nature around it. Another main service activity we do is volunteer at the Patuxent River Keeper. We do a lot of conservation work there. We help clean up sticks, paint the house, help weed the garden, get the area ready for all the activities that are hosted there. For example, many summer camps are hosted there. I personally had my Eagle project there, which we installed bluebird houses. Troop 214 is continuing to expand where we do service and continuing to help our community. Scouts has impacted me, myself. I am now 18, just aged out, but planning to become an assistant scoutmaster, and recently became an Eagle Scout. Scouts has given me lifelong skills and core values that I will use for the rest of my life. I think one of the best parts of Scouts is the friends I've made on the way. I've made lifelong friendships because of Scouts. I am forever grateful for that. Scouts has also taught me that I am stronger than I thought. I never thought I'd become an Eagle, but now I am.
Good evening. My name is Ansley Vance, and I attend Crofton High School. Scout, also from Troop 214. Scouting has offered me a supportive community where I can learn important life skills. My first meeting with Troop 214 was in May of my 5th grade year, and I was met with kind smiles and promptly blasted with water guns. Naturally, I decided it was the place for me. In the weeks following, I practiced the Scout Oath and Law every night, and 2 weeks later, I attended my first summer camp, my first time camping ever, actually, where I was again welcomed and taught with open arms. My troop, living by the Scout Oath and Law, and being a Scout in general, has taught me practical skills, communication, and leadership skills, which I will carry with me all throughout my life. For example, when I joined marching band, I realized just how much these skills have impacted me and how I carry them with me, making me a better teammate and a more motivated performer. Another lesson Scouting has taught me is how to stay cheerful in tough situations and how to ask for help when I need it. Like right now, I'm Troop 214's SPL and planning for summer camp, which I would not be able to do if I didn't know how to ask for support from my fellow Scouts and my Scoutmaster. Simply living by the Scout Oath and Law has changed me. It's made me a better friend, student, teammate, and sister. When reflecting on how Scouting has impacted me, I think back to my first meeting 4 years ago. Since then, I've taken inspiration from my troop's leaders and become one myself. And I'm well on my way to becoming an Eagle Scout. But most importantly, Scouting has helped me find confidence in myself and connection with others.
My name is Ella Doherty, and I am a 7th grader that attends Crofton Middle School. I'm a first-class scout and serve Troop 214 as a patrol leader. Throughout my journey, Scouts has drastically impacted my life in many ways. It has built me a strong base for leadership in my life that I can apply anywhere from soccer to band. I have learned important skills that can help me take action in emergencies or help people in dangerous situations. I have also learned that leadership is not just being in charge of other people, but being proactive and being a good listener to your fellow members in your Scout troop. I have learned these not only have I learned these important skills, but I have been exposed to a loving, supportive community that is always there for me. The Scout community has a big impact on how I positively look at Scouts as a whole. Scouts has also allowed me to realize the joy in helping the community and putting purpose into action. For example, I got to help the Tuxton Riverkeeper to create an archive of their records and put them online. Overall, Scouts is a supportive community that has been a very impactful part of my life.
Thank you, ladies. Really appreciate that. We love Scouts. I'm a mother of 4 Eagle Scouts myself, so I really appreciate and understand all that has gone into your projects and the great leadership skills you've learned. So thank you all for coming out tonight and sharing about the positive impacts of Scouts on our community. We appreciate you. All right. The invitation to audience is now closed. Is there any item any council member would like to place on the agenda? Seeing no one, may I have a motion that the partial reading of any bill, resolution, amendment to a bill or resolution, or minutes constitutes the reading of the whole?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Madam Secretary, please read the minutes of the legislative session of June 1st, the closed meeting of June 1st, and budget sessions of June 9th and 11th, 2026.
The minutes of the legislative session on June 1st. The county council meeting was called to order by Chair Hummer at 7:02 p.m. It was opened with an invocation given by Mr. Volke and was followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. The meeting was held in the county council chambers in Annapolis, Maryland. The minutes of the closed session on June 1st. A closed meeting was held on June 1st, 2026 in accordance with Section 305B1 of the General Provisions Article of the Annotated Code of Maryland to discuss a personnel matter. Chair Hummer opened the meeting at 7:55 p.m. and was held in room 143 of the Arundel Center in Annapolis, Maryland. Minutes for the budget amendment deliberations on June 9th. The meeting was called to order by Chair Hummer at 10:10 a.m. and opened with the invocation given by Ms. Fiedler, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. The meeting was held in the County Council chambers in Annapolis, Maryland. And then the minutes of the June 11th budget meeting. The meeting was called to order by Chair Hummer at 10:07 a.m. and was opened with an invocation given by Ms. Ledbetter and was followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. The meeting was held in the County Council chambers in Annapolis, Maryland.
May I have a motion to approve the minutes of the legislative session of June 1st, the closed meeting of June 1st, and budget sessions of June 9th and 11th, 2026? Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The minutes of the legislative session of June 1st, closed meeting of June 1st, and budget sessions of June 9th and 11th, 2026 stand approved as read. Madam Secretary, please read the titles of the bills to be introduced this evening.
Bill number 5526, an ordinance concerning finance, taxation, and budget, real property taxes, land preservation tax credit, subdivision and development, agricultural land, and woodland preservation. Bill number 5626, an ordinance concerning pensions, reemployment, drop accounts, fire service retirement plan, detention officers, and deputy sheriff's retirement plan. And Bill number 5726, an ordinance concerning zoning, other zoning districts, rural commerce center.
Madam Secretary, please read the titles of the resolutions to be introduced this evening.
Resolution number 1626, resolution confirming the appointment of a professional firefighter who is a member of the classified service to serve on the Pension Oversight Commission for Anne Arundel County. Resolution number 1726, resolution approving appointments to the Board of Trustees for the Anne Arundel County Retirement and Pension System. And resolution number 1826, resolution proposing an amendment to the Charter of Anne Arundel County to establish staggered terms for the appointees to the Planning Advisory Board and to require County Council confirmation of county executive appointments to the Planning Advisory Board.
Resolutions 1626 and 1726 will be voted on at the end of our meeting tonight. I would like to make a motion to suspend Rule 5106 to vote on resolution number 1826 later this evening as well. Do I have a second? Okay. Madam Secretary, please call the roll on the motion to suspend Rule 5106.
Ms. Ledbetter?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Ms. Pickard?
Aye.
Mr. Volkey?
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler?
Aye.
Ms. Rodvian?
Aye.
And Ms. Hummer?
Aye.
7 in the affirmative, none in the negative. The motion to suspend Rule 5106 to vote on Resolution 1826 at the end this evening has passed.
Okay, we will vote on resolution number 1826 at the end of our resolution segment this evening. Madam Secretary, please read the title of Bill number 4626.
Resolution number 4626, an emergency ordinance concerning current expense budget, higher education fund, and Arundel Community College transfers of funds.
Mr. Hunt?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ethan Hunt for the administration. With me, I have Lori Blair-Klossmeyer, Deputy County Attorney, and Melissa Beardmore, the Vice President of Learning Resource Management from Anne Arundel Community College. This bill is submitted by the budget at the request of the Budget Office on behalf of the Community College, amends the expense budget for the current fiscal year, which is FY 2026, by transferring $800,000 from the Higher Education Fund, Anne Arundel Community College Instruction, Academic Support, and Student Services to the Higher Education Fund, Auxiliary, and Other pursuant to the Education article of the state code. We are happy to answer any questions.
Is there any discussion? Mr. Volk?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to gripe about this on the next three bills, so I'll start here. Okay. But my first question before I gripe is, has this money already been expended? The $800,000 that we're giving, that we're transferring?
Thank you. Melissa Beardmore from the Community College. Some of it has.
Okay.
Our fiscal year ends June 30th, so
Yep.
this is the cleanup of our appropriation to make sure we don't spend $1 more than is appropriated in those categories.
Understood. And my gripe will be with everyone, because this is always how we do this in Anne Arundel County, which is you all spend the money and then you come to us and say, we spent the money, we need more. And then we're sort of in a position where we have to approve it, or people say there's bills that we've already paid or that we've committed to that if we don't get this money, we can't pay. So that's my gripe with this generally, not just with you. I'll gripe to the other departments too when they come up, I promise.
So just to be clear for us,
Yeah,
we're
go
not
ahead,
looking
please.
for new money. This is to reallocate between categories.
Okay, got you. Other people are looking for new money. So when we get there, that'll be a different discussion. All right, thank you.
Okay. All right. Is there any other discussion? All right. We will now open the public hearing on Bill number 4626. Madam Secretary, did we receive any testimony through the online testimony tool?
Yes, Madam Chair, we received 3 pieces which were shared with the council, added to the record, and posted to the website.
Okay. No one signed up ahead of time. Is there anyone here who wishes to speak on Bill number 4626? Seeing no movement, the public hearing on Bill number 4626 is now closed. Madam Secretary, please read the title of Bill number 4626.
Bill number 4626, an emergency ordinance concerning current expense budget, higher education fund, and Arundel Community College transfers of funds.
Okay, any further discussion? All right, Madam Secretary, please call the roll on Bill number 4626.
Ms. Ledbetter?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Ms. Pickard?
Aye.
Mr. Volkey?
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler?
Aye.
Ms. Rodvian?
Aye.
And Ms. Hummer?
Aye.
7 in the affirmative, none in the negative. Bill number 4626 has passed.
Okay, Madam Secretary, please read the title of Bill number 4726.
Bill number 4726, an emergency ordinance concerning current expense budget, Board of Education, supplementary appropriation, and transfers of funds.
Mr. Hunt?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ethan Hunt for the administration. With me, Lori Blair-Klossmeyer, Deputy County Attorney, and Matt Stansky, the Chief Financial Officer from Anne Arundel County Public Schools. So this is the fourth quarter transfer from the Board of Education. I can turn it over to Mr. Stansky if he wants to run through it real quickly.
asking again to transfer existing appropriation, and we are asking for new revenue, although not county revenue. So this is all federal, state, or Board of Ed revenue. To balance out our books for the remainder of the year. Some of the money has already been spent, some has not. But happy to answer any other questions you all may have.
Mr. Volk.
Thank you, Madam Chair. But to the extent the money has been spent, you've spent it within your existing appropriation, but out of category, and so now this is the true up to fix it?
Correct.
Copy. All right, thank you.
Any other questions? Discussion? All right, we will now open the public hearing on Bill number 4726. Madam Secretary, did we receive any testimony through the online testimony tool?
No, Madam Chair, we did not.
Okay, no one signed up ahead of time. Is there anyone here who wishes to speak on Bill number 4726? Seeing no movement, the public hearing on Bill number 4726 is now closed. Madam Secretary, please read the title of Bill number 4726.
Bill number 4726, an emergency ordinance concerning current expense budget, Board of Education, supplementary appropriation, and transfers of funds.
Okay, any further discussion? Madam Secretary, please call the roll on Bill number 4726.
Ms. Ledbetter?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Ms. Pickard? Aye. Mr. Volkey?
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler?
Aye.
Ms. Rodvian?
Aye.
And Ms. Hummer?
Aye.
7 in the affirmative, none in the negative. Bill number 4726 is passed.
Okay, Madam Secretary, please read the title of Bill number 4826.
Bill number 4826, an emergency ordinance concerning current expense budget, fourth quarter supplementary appropriations.
Mr. Hunt?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ethan Hunt for the administration. With me at the table, I have Lori Blair-Klossmeyer, Deputy County Attorney, and Stephen Thoreau, our Assistant Budget Officer. I will also add in the audience, should questions arise, we do have Brian Schenk, our Financial Services Manager from the Office of Finance, Christopher Klein, our Superintendent from the Department of Detention, Deputy Chief Tom Young, and Darlene Flynn, the Budget Analyst from the Fire Department, Henry Farrell, the Police Fiscal Operations and Management Administrator from the Police Department, Ann Badowski, our Personnel Officer, Susan Harrell, our Central Services Officer, Cedric Grant, the Chief Financial Officer for the Library, and Alex Backey, the Deputy Director from the Department of Highways, and Nicole Anishkevich from the Department of Public Works as well. This is the fourth quarter transfer to true up all of those departments. I'm happy to run through the list if you'd like. It's about 3 pages long, or I can turn it over to Mr. Thoreau. I'll do that.
Stephen Stewart from the Budget Office. Good evening, County Council. I'd just like to briefly go through some of what's in this fourth quarter bill. I'm not going to go through line by line. The fiscal note pretty much does that. So you can categorize about 70% of what's requested here in the general fund into 3 large categories. $6.5 million, $6.3 million is overtime / unrealized turnover. So again, that's day-to-day operations. We're not changing operations. That's just the cost of doing business for overtime and unrealized turnover. Self-insurance fund accounts for $4.3 million as a transfer from the general fund over to the self-insurance fund, and that's largely due to higher than expected claims and to stay within our fund balance policy coming up for the next fiscal year. So this was included in our adjustments and calculations for FY27's calculation. And then about $2.5 million is related to electricity. This is in central services and in DPW. So that's really about 70% of what's in the bill. And then there's a lot of other miscellaneous things that I'm happy to go through in details. We do have department experts here as well, but some of the highlights, the Board of Elections is in here for about $800,000. The budget had assumed that we were actually going to have less polling places in the upcoming primary election. That did not pass. They requested that, so this is to true that up. That hasn't happened yet, Mr. Volkey, but if we're gonna have all those polling places open on election day, we're gonna need that funding. Central services, I did kind of already go through. The detention center is pretty much all unrealized turnover and overtime related to the operation of the detention centers. The fire department is a little bit of a mix. That's about $1.3 million is related to personal services. And again, that's everything related to unrealized turnover, health insurance, overtime as well. Inspections and permits is unrealized turnover of $630,000. The Office of Finance does have a little bit of a few different things going on. The fiscal note lays that out pretty well. Personnel is largely background investigations for their public safety background investigations. Public Works is electricity. So again, happy to answer very specific questions on any department, or we have experts here as well.
Ms. Robian.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Mr. Volk.
Thanks again. Very specific questions. All right. So I'm just going back to prior years where we've done these fourth quarter transfer bills. And if I remember last year, I think we had some representations from the public safety departments, specifically police and fire, that there had been a new model adopted for overtime, that they were going to be able to model for that better, and that they thought that we would not be coming back asking for these significant sort of true-ups at the end of the year regarding overtime, but yet here we are another year later, and there's another significant ask for that. The police department doesn't break it out quite the same way that the fire department does. It looks like, at least for the fire department, they say somebody says, and it might even have been you, but 1.3 of the 2.5 million there for them is overtime, health insurance, special pays, and that breaks the rest out. The police department is just a general $2.978 million. That's personnel services, primarily to fill budgeted turnover estimates, additional overtime and special pays. So just walk me through. I thought we had solved this, or at least we were getting closer to solving it. It seems like we didn't solve it again for another year. Where are we, and what does this look like continuing?
Sure. So I'll let those departments come up if they'd like to speak, but I'll give a little bit of a brief overview because we set most of these budgets.
I didn't see Mr. Farrell. Is he here?
He is.
There he
hiding.
is. There he is. I was looking at everybody else. Sorry.
So in the fire department, you are correct. We do have a revised model, and that model works great as long as all those inputs of the model turn out to be true. So
Okay.
if we happen to hire more folks in a given class, right, that's going to have less of a turnover impact. If we happen to have people out on extended sick leave, for example, more than we had anticipated, that's going to have more overtime than we anticipated. So while these are large dollar figures, I would agree with that. They are also over $200 million for each of those departments.
Sure.
Most of which is in personnel. So we're talking about 0.5% here that we're really off when you're talking about $2 million or so. So yes, very large dollar amounts. I would agree with you.
Yeah.
But a turnover model and a model for personnel services is only as good as those assumptions that we do 18 months in advance.
I got you. Your point is, if we're less than 1% off, we did pretty good.
I mean, pretty good.
Yeah.
Not perfect,
Yeah.
but pretty good. Yes.
I got you. I got you. Yeah. All right. Is there any more detail we can get, or you can just give me a thumbs up or thumbs down? Is the entirety of the police department just overtime and turnover, or is there something else in there?
I would.
Good evening. For the record, Henry Farrell, Police Fiscal Manager. I would say when it comes to the overtime projection, we did a much better job at budgeting this year. At this point, we're only $500,000 off. We've been multi-million dollars off in the past.
Yes.
And that has a lot to do with our hiring, and they kind of go hand in hand. And it also has a lot to do with what, tasks and what responsibilities are going on in the police department that year. So we haven't had a great deal of massive events that created overtime for us. So I would say $500,000 is pretty dang good in my experience of millions of dollars off in the past.
Mayor, thank you. So at least the fiscal note that we have says 2.978 million going to the police department. $500,000 of that is overtime. What's the balance of that then?
So we have, the bulk of it happens to be special pays, and they are things like on-call pay and shift differential.
Okay.
And so as we have moved into a completely new way of operating in our 12-hour shifts, we're finding that shift differential is growing while the overtime is minimizing. So kind of hard to get your hands around all of it. We've never done a 12-hour shift before, and so we're just drilling down and getting closer. Hopefully 27's better for us from a budget perspective. But there are other things that go into that mix too, and contractual pay and temporary pay and other things. And so with 1,100 employees, it's hard to get your hands around all of it.
So the shift differential, is that like people who are working overnight, there's a different pay rate, or people working weekends, there's a different pay rate?
Correct.
Okay, gotcha. All right. I won't bother you anymore. I have a fire department question.
Now to bother the fire department.
Yeah. So the $378,100 in supplies and materials for medical supplies, does this have anything to do with the medical supplies piece that we just dealt with in budget that was relating to the hospital situation?
Good evening, Tom Young, Deputy Chief. In part, it does, but the majority of it is just additional supplies beyond what was expected and an expected increase in cost. Last year, we had anticipated about a 20% increase due to inflation. In budget planning, we're always trying to cut the budget down as much as possible, and we didn't necessarily get that allocated to that 20% level. Unfortunately, we've realized more of a 25% increase in cost. So it's supplies in general. Some of it includes taking away some of that we weren't getting from the hospitals. The majority is just an increase of overall need and as well as that increase in cost.
Okay. And the 600,000 or so in contractual services, 599, 600, what is that for? I know it says vehicle operations, but what does that mean?
Steven Tarou from the budget office, while they pull up their notes, a lot of that I think is direct charge, which is really the operation of our fire trucks, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, fire department.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
Fire trucks and apparatus, right?
Yes, I'm sorry.
You're okay.
Darlene Flynn, but budget analyst. Yeah, we do direct pay. So that basically is fuel increases, engine replacements, which can run quite a bit. We also have a lot of sublets because it is dealing with apparatus.
Okay, got it. And then do you have the same issue with special pays in that 1.3 that the police department has, or is that something different for you all? Is it shift differentials or is it something else, I guess?
So it's a mixture of overtime as well as about 500,000 increase in insurance with the health insurance change. There was extra leave available this year, which added to the overtime costs because unfortunately in the fire department, the majority of any extra leave converts straight to overtime. And then there were also some need to increase some apparatus coverage because of certain units being out of service in South County.
But our special pays is also a lot broader than what the police mentioned.
Okay.
Ours is acting out of class pay, on-call pay, holdover on call, clothing allowance, service weapons. So it's a lot of different allowances that we have based on agreements in place. So it goes all the way from our communications office all the way out to the training. So it's a lot broader.
I had a question, but I'm blanking on it for a second. Oh, the leave that you were talking about, why was more leave available? Was that something that came out of collective bargaining? Was that something that was part of the negotiations that changed? What's the situation with that? I guess I'm not clear on that. I haven't heard about that before.
It was from the generosity of the county and the administration for some of the holiday extra days that converted to overtime.
So to the extent that the county executive says we're granting an extra holiday, your point is then somebody's got to cover that, and that's overtime pay. So
correct.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Is that it, Mr. Volker? You good? Okay, there's a lot of departments. I want to make sure. All right. That's right. All right. Madam Secretary, did we receive any, we will now open the public hearing on Bill number 4826. Madam Secretary, did we receive any testimony through the online testimony tool?
No, Madam Chair, we did not.
Okay, no one signed up ahead of time. Is there anyone here who wishes to speak on Bill number 4826? Seeing no movement, the public hearing on Bill number 4826 is now closed. Madam Secretary, please read the title of Bill number 4826.
Bill number 4826, an emergency ordinance concerning current expense budget, fourth quarter supplementary appropriations.
Okay, there are two amendments. Is there any discussion before we move forward with the amendments? Okay. Madam Secretary, please read amendment number 1.
Amendment number 1, this amendment appropriates additional unappropriated general fund balance to the Office of Personnel and Department of Public Works.
May I have I'm sorry, Mr. Hunt.
I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Tarou if he has anything to add on that one.
Just a real quick overview of what this amendment does. So it's going to add some additional funding to the Office of Personnel based on recent personnel projections, specifically for background investigations for public safety employees, and then to the Department of Public Works based on updated projections as well.
Okay. May I have a motion to adopt?
Motion to adopt.
Second. Okay. Is there any discussion? Ms. Pickard, do you have okay. Administration, do you have anything to add?
Nope.
Okay, Madam Secretary, please call the roll on amendment number 1.
Ms. Ledbetter?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Ms. Pickard?
Aye.
Mr. Volkey?
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler?
Aye.
Ms. Radvian?
Aye.
And Ms. Hummer?
Aye.
7 in the affirmative, none in the negative. Amendment number 1 has been adopted.
Okay, Madam Secretary, please read amendment number 2.
Amendment number 2. This amendment appropriates additional unappropriated self-insurance fund balance to the self-insurance fund.
Mr. Hunt?
Thank you, Madam Chair. It increases the appropriation to the self-insurance fund by $200,000. I'm sure Mr. Thoreau can add anything you would like.
Madam Chair, members of the council, again, this update's based on more updated projections in the self-insurance fund.
Okay. May I have a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Okay, is there any discussion? Administration, anything else? Okay. Madam Secretary, please call the roll on amendment number 2.
Ms. Ledbetter?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Ms. Pickard?
Aye.
Mr. Volkey?
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler?
Aye.
Ms. Radvian?
Aye.
And Ms. Hummer?
Aye.
7 in the affirmative, none in the negative. Amendment number 2 has been adopted.
Okay, as a reminder, emergency legislation can be amended and voted on the same night. Is there any further discussion? Madam Secretary, please call the roll on bill number 4826 as amended.
Ms. Ledbetter?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Ms. Pickard?
Aye.
Mr. Volkey?
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler?
Aye.
Ms. Radvian?
Aye.
And Ms. Hummer?
Aye.
7 in the affirmative, none in the negative. Bill number 4826 as amended has passed.
Madam Secretary, please read the title of bill number 2926 as amended.
Bill number 2926, an ordinance concerning zoning, conditional use requirements, licensed dispensaries of cannabis.
And half the room gets up because all the staff is gone. Mr. Volkey, this is your bill.
I was just wondering if we can excuse them from, well, they don't have to come back. That's right. We just
That's
passed
right.
it. Never mind.
No,
Okay.
they are done.
Just trying to save some county resources. All right. So thank you for the opportunity on this bill. We have talked about this quite a lot at multiple different hearings before this body. With that said, the public hearing, as I understand it, it remains open. So I will reserve any further comments and would welcome the opportunity to hear from the public. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Hunt?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ethan Hunt for the administration. With me, I have Lynn Miller, our Assistant Planning and Zoning Officer, Lori Blair-Klossmeyer, our Deputy County Attorney. I know there are folks here to testify, and there is a public hearing, so I will not belabor the point and reserve comments for later.
Okay. Is there any discussion? All right, we will now open the public hearing on bill number 2926. Madam Secretary, did we receive any testimony through the online testimony tool?
Yes, Madam Chair. We received 47 pieces which were shared with the council, added to the record, and posted to the website.
Okay, we will now call on individuals who signed up ahead of the meeting. When I call your name, please come up to the table and have a seat. When it's your turn, state your name and address for the record. Remarks will be limited to 2 minutes. Please listen for the buzzer and respect the 2-minute time limit as others are signed up to speak. If you have more than 2 minutes to share, I'm going to ask you to submit your additional thoughts as early as tomorrow using our online testimony tool. I'll call up the first 6: Eddie Pounds, Benjamin Kubik, Jeffrey Kubik, Brandon Davis, Bonnie Booth, and Michael Stumpfoil. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to start down the row, or I'll call your name when it comes out. So I'll just do it in order. Eddie Pounds. Mr. Pounds?
Thank you. Sorry. Again, for the record, Eddie Pounds here today on behalf of Vital Dispensary. I'm going to reserve my comments for my client.
All right. Benjamin Kubik.
Mr. Davis.
Oh, okay. Hi. Mr. Davis, Brandon Davis.
Hey, nice to be here. Brandon Davis, 91 Ritchie Highway. Good evening, Madam Chair and council members. My name is Brandon Davis. I'm the part owner of Vital at 91 Ritchie Highway, and I'm here to oppose House Bill 2926. My business partner and I purchased a property at 91 Ritchie Highway in Pasadena after doing exactly what responsible business owners are supposed to do. We conducted an extensive due diligence check, contacted Anne Arundel County zoning officials multiple times for verification, and obtained a zoning certification letter confirming the property was Zone C3 and a licensed cannabis dispensary wasn't allowed use in that district. But after relying on that process and investing heavily into the location, We are still being told that our property does not qualify. The delay in development caused by this bill has been costly and threatens our ability to meet state mandated operational timelines. It is also causing a considerable loss in market share while other dispensaries in the same area/district continue to move forward in their build-up process. Last week, I personally walked the neighborhood around our site and spoke directly with members of the community. I listened to their concerns, answered questions, and tried to build trust. Some neighbors were excited, some were opposed, and others were indifferent. What stood out to me was the variety of opinions that the community had. This bill is based on fear from a small fraction of the community, but the community at large seems to support the growth coming to Anne Arundel County. This process has felt unpredictable, inconsistent, and discouraging. It is making me lose trust in the county's ability to support future economic growth. When rules appear to shift after people have already relied on them, it sends the wrong message, not just to us, but to any business considering investing here. I respectfully ask this council to reject Bill 2926 and consider the real-world impact these kinds of barriers and delays have on small operators trying to open lawfully, responsibly, and in good faith.
Thank you, Mr. Davis.
No problem.
Benjamin Kubik. Mr. Kubik.
Good evening, Madam Chair and members of the committee. My name is Benjamin Kubik. I'm 16 years old, and I'm here today to support the proposed Bill 2926, requiring dispensaries to maintain setbacks from schools, residential neighborhoods, parks, and places of worship. As a student, I spend much of my time in places that are meant to be safe and focused on learning, recreation, and community. Schools and parks are where young people gather every day. Places of worship and residential neighborhoods are also important centers of family and community life. This bill is about protecting the environments where children and families live, learn, play, and gather. Reasonable setbacks can help reduce young people's exposure to cannabis-related advertising and storefronts in the places they frequent most. They can also help preserve the character of neighborhoods and community spaces that families rely on. Parents, teachers, and community leaders work hard to encourage healthy choices among young people. Maintaining appropriate distances between dispensaries and places where youth regularly gather can support these efforts and reinforce the message that these spaces should remain focused on education, recreation, and community well-being. As a young person who is directly affected by decisions about where these businesses are located, I respectfully ask you to support this bill and help ensure that schools, parks, neighborhoods, and places of worship remain spaces where children and families can thrive. Furthermore, as someone who has witnessed these effects of cannabis on people I know, I do not want dispensaries co-located to places near where young people gather. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Kubik. Jeffrey Kubik.
Good evening, Madam Chair and council members. I have a few photos that I'd like to distribute to members of the council. I support Bill 2926. It's been noted at numerous council meetings. Bill 2926 establishes reasonable setbacks between cannabis dispensaries and sensitive land use areas to include schools, parks, places of worship, childcare, and even residential neighborhoods. As an Air Force veteran, I have served our nation to protect the freedoms and democratic principles that allow citizens to participate in decisions affecting their communities. I live and work in Anne Arundel County. One of those freedoms is the ability to engage in local legislative process and advocate for policies that reflect values and priorities of our neighborhoods. My support for this bill comes from a desire to ensure that community voices are heard and that development occurs in a manner that respects existing residents and institutions. This bill provides clarity and predictability for both residents and cannabis dispensary licensees and local government. Clear setback requirements help ensure dispensaries are located in appropriate areas while reducing potential conflicts with neighboring properties. It is worth noting that other facilities dispense controlled substances to include methadone clinics are subject to specific location and zoning requirements because the county recognizes the importance of balancing access with community compatibility. The photos that I share with the council members is not of 91 Ritchie Highway, but of 8230 Ritchie Highway. That property was purchased in advance of 91 Ritchie Highway. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kubik. Bonnie Booth?
My name is Bonnie Booth. I live at 569 Baydale Court, Arnold, Maryland, 21012. I am a member of Pasadena United Methodist Church and serve on the Pasadena Early Learning Center Board. I'm here tonight to state my support of Anne Arundel County Council Bill 2926. In general, laws have been created to maintain specified distances between places of business and sensitive locations to control traffic, noise, and create a respectful atmosphere, especially in the vicinity of schools and religious institutions. Historically, a bill went into effect in Maryland on June 1st, 2024, requiring a 500-foot buffer between cannabis dispensaries and sensitive locations. This bill updated a previous 2023 bill, which defined sensitive locations as schools, daycares, playgrounds, libraries, and public parks to now include churches. With that in mind, Anne Arundel County policy regarding the location of cannabis dispensaries is vaguely stated and difficult to comprehend, thus resulting in ambiguity and confusion and unfair to both business community and sensitive locations. When policies and laws are not stated clearly, frustration and distrust mount for all parties involved. Bill 2926 outlines clear, specific guidelines measuring distances between a cannabis dispensary and sensitive locations and neighborhoods. The bill provides a standard policy for cannabis businesses to follow. While cannabis dispensaries can and do operate in Anne Arundel County, specific setback measurements are necessary to provide clear framework for these businesses to respect the boundaries of nearby sensitive locations and facilities. It is extremely important for the guidelines to be clearly stated and well-defined. Bill 2926 provides that framework and should aid in eliminating any confusion going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Booth. Mr. Stumpfoil?
My name is Michael Stumpfoil. I'm a registered architect in the state of Maryland, a vice president of a national architectural firm, and experienced in zoning issues, as almost all of my projects of the past 37 years involve real estate development and rezoning. I live at 8348 Schmitz Lane in Pasadena, Maryland. Cannabis is now a lawful adult-use commercial product, but that doesn't mean that every location is appropriate for its sale. If the county treats cannabis in the same general category as alcohol, then the zoning framework should treat it with the same seriousness and public health caution. Anne Arundel County already recognizes that alcohol sales have impacts beyond the walls of the business, and that's why alcohol licenses are subject to distance restrictions from schools and places of worship. Actually, twice the distance is what's being proposed tonight. The principle is simple. Adult use retail should not be placed immediately adjacent to sensitive community uses where children, families, worshipers, and neighborhood groups gather. Cannabis raises similar concerns. It is legal for adults, but it can impair judgment. It raises concerns about use before and during driving, and it can create secondary impacts around odor, public use, loitering, and normalization near youth-oriented spaces. And we do not allow open containers of alcohol in vehicles, and we do not treat public drunkenness as harmless simply because alcohol is legal. Cannabis should be viewed through the same lens. Legalization should not mean the county loses the ability to set reasonable boundaries. And I also believe the social equity issue that's been brought up should be respected, but not confused with land use. Supporting minority ownership and social equity licensing is a legitimate goal, but a zoning setback does not decide who may own a cannabis business. It decides where an adult use retail business is appropriate.
Thank you, Mr. Stumpfoil. Next, Barbara Clark, Stephen Clark, and if there's anyone else here who wishes to speak on Bill number 2926, you may come up at this time. Ms. Clark.
Good evening. Barbara Clark, 106 Dalesway Drive, Pasadena. I'm here tonight expressing my support for the bill presented by Councilman Volke. Speaking here again tonight as both a mother, grandmother, and registered nurse. I previously offered studies showing the impact of dispensaries near school children within a 10-minute drive of a facility. They had a higher percentage of cannabis use disorder, even though underage to purchase. It showed that the influence normalized cannabis use and exposed them to a pro-usage mentality. Studies also showed that it made it easier for kids to buy a few blocks away from the dispensary from a stranger or older friend. In addition, there is now another new report presented by the Annals of Internal Medicine that studied the effects of whether nearness to cannabis dispensaries increased neighborhood ER visits related to cannabis-attributed harm. They studied 10,574 neighborhoods containing 6 million people, ages 15 and up, from 2017 to 2022. The neighborhood studied measured 1,000 meters, which is about 3,000 feet away from the dispensaries. The results showed that collectively there was a 12% relative increase in the monthly rate of cannabis-related ER visits compared to neighborhoods further away. The conclusion suggested there are public health benefits in countries that pursue legislation prohibiting or limiting dispensaries near neighborhoods within 3,000 feet of neighborhoods. We're only asking for 500 feet. These are all warnings we cannot ignore as legislation is decided. We cannot abdicate common sense zoning concerning placement of cannabis dispensaries. While some may think we are just trying to protect our neighborhood, churches, daycare, and kids surrounding 91 Ritchie Highway, that is far from the truth. This location only brought to light this zoning problem. We want to protect all communities in this county. Businesses should never be a higher priority than human beings living, worshiping, and enjoying community life. Please protect us from cannabis dispensaries in these areas.
Thank you, Ms. Clark.
Thank you.
Mr. Clark.
Hi, Steve Clark. Thank you for hearing us tonight. I'm writing in strong support for Bill number 2926, which requires licensed cannabis dispensaries to maintain setbacks from child care centers, residential properties, and other protected uses in Anne Arundel County. As a lifelong resident, I believe this is a common sense measure that puts families, children's, and neighborhoods first. The bill's amended language includes a 500-foot setback from licensed child care centers and a 100-foot setback from properties with residential use. These are very reasonable standards that recognize a simple truth. Where children are cared for and where families live deserve thoughtful protection and appropriate buffers when the county considers where businesses are located. I also strongly support measuring these setbacks from lot line to lot line rather than door to door has been suggested in previous hearings. The lot line standard is clearer, more consistent, and harder to manipulate over time. Doors can be moved and reoriented in the future, which could circumvent the intent of the law, while lot lines are fixed and provide an objective, durable way to enforce the county's protection. Setbacks like these are not unusual. Local governments regularly lose separation requirements for uses such as liquor stores and other regulated business when they want to reduce conflicts with nearby residential or child-focused uses. In that sense, Bill 2926 is not creating a novel burden. It's applying a familiar zoning tool to make sure potentially incompatible uses are cited responsible. For me, this is not about opposing one business or singling out one address. It's about setting fair rules before conflicts arise and making sure those rules apply equally across the county. My support for this bill is not specifically targeted at 91 Ritchie Highway. I support it because Anne Arundel County needs consistent countywide standards that respect the people who live nearby, protect places where children spend their days, and give residents confidence that land use decisions are made with care, balance, and the long-term well-being of our communities in mind.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. Ms. Leahy.
Hello, good evening. Amy Leahy. I'm speaking on behalf of Greater Severna Park Council tonight, which I'm Vice President of Public Affairs, and I am speaking in support of Bill 2926, co-sponsored by Councilman Nathan Volke and Councilwoman Amanda Fiedler. This bill would apply the state guidance for minimum distance requirements to schools, playgrounds, and houses of worship to provide clear guidance for cannabis dispensaries by presenting a clear definition of a minimum distances. You can help ensure good relationships between neighbors and businesses by having clear boundaries for all By voting against this bill, the County Council would maintain its current stance of effectively eliminating all state distance requirements between sensitive locations and cannabis dispensaries. The community needs to have its voice heard in decisions that are made by you, our elected representatives, who are charged with the fiduciary and civic duty to support quality of life for residents, rather than subjugate this responsibility in favor of a controversial business. At some point, the protection of the existing community must come before the profits of an outside business that does not benefit the immediate surrounding area. We ask that you, our elected representatives, pass this bill. Small distances matter as a statement of support. Thank you for your attention and support of the people.
Thank you, Ms. Leahy. Mr. Higgins.
Paul Higgins, Pasadena, Maryland. I spoke on this bill when it first came up, and I'm going to speak again. Not to add time, but as a local community leader, what would happen or where would this fit if it was in my neighborhood? And this has nothing to do with 91 Ritchie Highway. This is a common sense approach. So I think it's been said by the folks to my left very eloquently that don't look at this as what's going on in their backyard. Look at this as what's going on in our backyard and where we're going in the future. I feel for the business that's tangled up in this, and maybe that's another discussion for another day, how we got here. But I would ask one thing, and I think our budget officer said it so well at one of your last meetings. Look at this as a belt and suspenders thing. And all we're doing is shoring up what's there. Thank you.
Did you wear those suspenders on purpose tonight to say that? I bet he did. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, members of the County Council. My name is Deborah Jester, 504 Kent Avenue, Pasadena. I'm a member of the Pasadena United Methodist Church, and I'm speaking in favor of Bill 2926. I appreciate the opportunities that Maryland's cannabis industry has created for businesses, consumers, and entrepreneurs. As this new industry continues to grow and evolve, I believe we have an opportunity to ensure that growth occurs in a way that reflects the values and character of our communities. My request today is simple. Please adopt meaningful setback requirements for cannabis dispensaries, lounges, and similar social consumption establishments from churches, schools, and residential neighborhoods. Churches and schools are more than buildings. They are the places where children learn, where families gather and connect. Our neighborhoods are residents seeking a sense of peace and belonging. As cannabis businesses expand into social consumption spaces, thoughtful placement matters. This is not about opposition to cannabis or to the business owners investing in our county. In fact, I applaud the entrepreneurs, many from diverse backgrounds, who are pursuing new opportunities and contributing to our local economy. This is about balance and respect. Respect for families, respect for church and faith communities, respect for schools. Reasonable setbacks do not prevent businesses from succeeding. They simply help ensure that different community uses can coexist in a way that minimizes conflict and preserves the qualities that make our county such a wonderful place to live. I ask you to act with foresight and care. We can support economic opportunity, respect the will of Maryland voters, and protect the places that matter most to families. These goals are not mutually exclusive. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Hi, my name is Amran Pasha. I live at 14456 Triadelphia Mill Road in Dayton, Maryland. I would like to thank the County Council for the opportunity to speak here today. Brandon Davis and I purchased 91 Ritchie Highway back in August of 2025. Before we bought the property, we did our due diligence and we got a zoning letter from the county. According to the zoning letter, a cannabis dispensary was allowed at this location, but was subject to the distance requirement. We investigated the county distance requirements and found that in 2023, a bill was adopted that eliminated any distance requirements from any place of worship. Just to confirm this, we called the zoning department and we were told the same thing. This is also amplified in the fact that Ritual Dispensary was approved and back in 2024 right next to a church. I understand that a zoning letter is not an absolute guarantee, but it's something that investors rely on. At this point, we have reached out to the community. We are trying to understand and address their concerns. We've submitted a good neighbor agreement to the two places of worship that are across from us and adjacent to us, and we're trying to reach an agreement with them. I would like to show everybody that Brandon and I intend to work with the community, and we will try our best to make everyone as comfortable as possible with the proposed use. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else here who would like to speak on Bill number 2926?
Thank you. Good evening. I'm Maureen Carr-York, and I'm president of the Greater Severna Park Council. But I'd also like to mention that I live within walking distance of this proposed site for the cannabis dispensary. We have another in our general GSPC area, and it is in a commercial area where it fits. This particular location, like many countywide, are going to be problematic if reasonable restrictions on the location of these uses is not enacted. And I would urge you to consider this bill reasonable restrictions on location. Measuring the distance at 500 feet, lot line to lot line, is not too much to ask. It's less than many of our neighboring jurisdictions, as we heard from Councilman Volke at our last meeting, and it is also far less than the restrictions put on alcohol institutions and similar uses. So I'd ask you to very carefully consider enacting this bill to protect the neighborhoods and the churches and the daycare centers and the other sensitive locations that could be adversely impacted. Lot line to lot line is important because the grounds of these facilities are also in use constantly. So you don't want to just be saying to a door, it's got to be lot line to lot line. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Carr-York. Yes, sir.
Thank you, council members. My name is Reverend Lee Augsburger. I live at 476 Lymington Road in Severna Park. As pastor of a house of worship within 450 feet of the proposed dispensary, as measured by entryway to entryway, I wholeheartedly support Councilman members Volke's bill. But in point of fact, as a recovering lawyer after 30 years of regulatory work, I'm still confused as to why we're having some of this discussion. Under current state regulation, irrespective of the proposal, Anne Arundel County is prohibited by Maryland state law from granting a permit. I'm not a great fan of AI, but I Googled this, and Gemini says that 91 Ritchie Highway doesn't meet the state and local zoning requirements, even though the property is zoned for general commercial purposes. And the Maryland Cannabis Administration maintains an ArcGIS map for the entire state of Maryland that shows where dispensaries can be located. And 91 Ritchie Highway is not one of those locations. It's clearly excluded on that map. The simple fact is that the main entry of the proposed dispensary is located within 500 feet of the entry of a house of worship, as well as a playground of a licensed daycare facility. So under Maryland Code 36410, I don't see how zoning can be granted. Mr. Volke's proposed resolution is a sensible approach. It calculates distance consistent with state regulation, and even if you measure entryway to entryway. Clear laws make good neighbors. I wholeheartedly support this resolution as a private citizen, as a regulatory lawyer, and as a pastor of the church across the street. I encourage the council to do the same. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Minahan.
Matt Minahan, Edgewater, Maryland, on behalf of the Growth Action Network. We're also in support of this and appreciate the sponsor bringing it forward. Listen, these two guys have a real dilemma, and I'm sad that the county is changing the rules in the middle of the game. I would hope that their business is not just collateral damage from the county not having considered this prior to their purchase. I don't know how the county makes them whole, or even if that's our obligation. But that the rules are changing in the middle of this business plan is a concern to me as a citizen, and I would hope it would be a concern to us as sponsors of economic development. Having said that, it's too close to the playground, it's too close to the church, it's too close to schools. And I heard tonight that the distance regulations for liquor stores are greater than they are for this. And so I say to the sponsor, let's increase these distances, not decrease these distances. Particularly schools. I mean, alcohol is a problem for kids. Marijuana is a bigger problem for kids. This needs to have greater distances, and the earlier testimony about the recent research about emergency room cases. Greatly increasing close to dispensaries, I find to be enormously persuasive. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Minahan. The public hearing on Bill number 2926 is now closed. Madam Secretary, please read the title of Bill number 2926 as amended.
Bill number 2926, an ordinance concerning zoning conditional use requirements, licensed dispensaries of cannabis.
All right. Mr. Volkey.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just to address the last comment first, Mr. Minahan, hear you loud and clear, but this is state law, and state law says that we are not allowed to set these distance requirements any greater than 500 feet. So that is, we are preempted. So that is the reason for that. But what state law doesn't cover, and I actually emailed Senator Clarence Lamb because he was one of the people who sent in testimony in opposition, one of the few, because overwhelmingly the testimony is supportive of this bill. But he said, you know, the state has very carefully crafted this and we've done all of this. And I wrote him back and I said, can you please tell me where the state defines how you're supposed to measure these distances? So I will await his response on that. I look forward to hearing it. But I will tell you it's not there. And that is the reason that this bill exists, and that is the reason that we're moving forward with it. That being said, I do have a couple questions for the Office of Planning and Zoning if I can. Ms. Miller, I don't know if you know the answer to this or if this is somebody else in Planning and Zoning, but I was provided with this information. Can you give her a copy of what we have over there? Because otherwise she's just guessing. I know that hasn't gotten passed out yet. If you take a look at this, this looks like another location that's a little further up Ritchie Highway. So this is a different location. I just want to be clear about that. And this is why this bill is needed, because obviously this is not just one location. There are multiple. This shows 8230 Ritchie Highway, which is just up the road. If you look at that and then you take a look at some of these other pictures, the big white building is 8230 Ritchie Highway. It is directly next to a strip shopping center, and in that shopping center there is a church and there is a child care center. I pulled up Google Maps and did an entryway to entryway measurement. It's 301 feet from the entryway of what used to be the Century 21 real estate place. Before that it was a music and art store, and now it's going to be a cannabis dispensary, to the farthest spot on that strip center, which is the child care location. Has Planning and Zoning approved this already? Do you know?
Lynn Miller, Planning and Zoning. I don't off the top of my head, Mr. Volk. I would
Okay.
have to go back to the office and look at our records.
Understood. And I would appreciate if you could get back to me, because I'd like to know. I guess, to me, this is exactly why I think this legislation is necessary, because I did look up Ritual Dispensary, which is in Glen Burnie, and if you measure door to door from Ritual Dispensary, it looks like that to the Wesley United Methodist Church is about 763 feet, give or take. But if you were to go lot line to lot line, it certainly would not be that distance. And now seeing that we have what appears to be a third instance where the county may or may not have approved a dispensary or be looking to approve one, and by that I'm referring to the Ritual Dispensary as the first, Vital Dispensary is the second, and now this third location that I've shown you the paper on. I guess that's just highlights to me exactly why we have to have something in the code that says how we're going to handle this, because otherwise I'm not sure how it's being handled. So is there a policy currently about how you all measure? Do you currently measure entryway to entryway? I thought when we started this discussion it was clear that this was kind of a first time impression or first impression issue, and you all didn't have that policy. But I guess I'm trying to understand it in light of what we've now learned about ritual and then this other one that's coming.
Right. And I think we discussed this at the previous hearing, Mr.
Yeah.
Wilkie. Prior to 2023, the code clearly specified distance separation requirements as well as how to measure them.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna assume, sitting here without records in front of me, that anything that was approved was done in accordance with that code. There were actually a few different iterations of this section of the code over the years. So over time, there have been different requirements for how we had to measure them. So, for instance, in this case, I would not only have to look at what approvals it's gotten, but also when the nearby uses were permitted and what was in the code at the time they were permitted. So it depends on several different things.
Understood. I know that the Wesley Church in Glen Burnie has been there at least as long as I've been alive, because I went to preschool there, so I know where that one is. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Mr. Smith.
This is for the sponsor. Can I ask, what happens if the learning center or childcare, like I'm looking at the examples on here, or church moves to a location that, and they are conflicting, like let's say you had an applicant that was trying to buy a location, and the lot, let's say it was lot lines, and the adjacent property lot line was vacant, and then a church or a daycare or a school purchase it. What happens in that situation? Just curious.
Yeah, I mean, I think if I'm following your question correctly, let's just take this picture that we have in front of us, for instance. Are you asking if a dispensary were to go into this building, the white building, and then after they've already gone in and they're in operation, someone moves into the strip center and starts out? I would think they're already in. Because when they went to measure, at the time when the application came before planning and zoning, and planning and zoning made a decision, at that time when it existed, there was not a church or a daycare within that. If they came in later, then I think to a certain degree, they're making a decision or a choice to locate within that footage distance from the dispensary, right?
Yep.
So I think that's the answer to your question, is how I believe planning and zoning would treat it. I don't think that planning and zoning would come back and say, oh, someone's now moved in, oh, you all have to move. I don't think that's how that would work. That's why I think law would take that position, yeah. But at the time that the applicant's in, I think they would look at what is the existing landscape at that time.
Well, they could be in a situation in the future where they are within that 500, whatever the line or the termination that is decided.
Sure.
There could be an opportunity where two entities are in close proximity, because churches move, schools move, daycares move all the time.
Yeah, understood your question, and I think the difference and sort of the distinction there is that sounds like a church or a daycare would have decided to move within 500 feet of a dispensary. They would have made that decision.
Right.
That's different than they're there operating, and then a dispensary comes in and says, we're now going to operate. And we are setting that limit to say, if there is an existing operation, then we have certain rules that the state's provided that we're now codifying in our code as well, at least as to how we measure distance.
When we measure on any of these things for that, when we say entry to entry on a point, what is determined to be the entry point? Are we looking at the main entrance to a building or any entrance on a property?
Sure, Lynn Miller. Yes, we interpret an entry as meaning the main public entrance to the building.
So what about if it's a playground or a park? Is that the same? Would we be looking at the entrance to it, not necessarily the boundaries of the park as far out as it extends? Because some of the boundaries could be much closer to an entity, but the entrance could be farther away.
Sure. So if the code says to measure from an entry, then we would consider that, whether it's a park or whatever use, to be the main entry that's used by the public.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As sort of advertised to some of my colleagues, and I think the administration hopefully shouldn't be surprised by this, I'm going to make a motion to hold this for another 3 weeks, getting us to the July 6th meeting, our first meeting in July. As everyone can do the math, this bill expires on July the 10th, so this will be the last opportunity for us to consider the bill, but I will ask for a motion to hold at this time.
So moved.
Madam Secretary, please call the roll. Please call the roll on the motion to hold the vote on Bill number 2926 as amended until July 6, 2026.
Ms. Ledbetter?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Ms. Pickard? Aye. Mr. Volkey?
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler?
Aye.
Ms. Rodvian?
Aye.
And Ms. Hummer?
Aye.
7 in the affirmative, none in the negative. The motion to hold the vote on Bill number 2926 until July 6 is passed.
Okay. Madam Secretary, please read the title of Bill number 3026 as amended.
Bill number 3026, an ordinance concerning boards, commissions, and similar bodies, Resilience Authority of Annapolis and Anne Arundel County, membership, director.
Mr. Hunt?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ethan Hunt for the administration. Joining me at the table are Lori Blair-Klossmeyer, our Deputy County Attorney, and Matt Fleming, our Executive Director of the Resilience Authority of Annapolis and Anne Arundel County. This bill has been discussed previously. It clarifies that the Executive Director of the Resilience Authority is appointed by the Board of Directors of the Resilience Authority, and as amended, requires 10 of 12 board members appointed by the county executive and mayor to be residents of the county. Happy to answer any questions.
Is there any discussion? Mr. Volkey?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to give special thanks to Mr. Fleming, who has been extremely accessible and available to discuss this bill repeatedly. I also want to give a shout out to Gann. Ms. Fox reached out to us relating to this bill. She had some questions. Mr. Fleming did an excellent job of responding to her questions. I think he satisfied her inquiry at this point. I think there is a plan moving forward as to how to address some of those concerns, and I think it sounds like the Resilience Authority, if there are any issues, is willing to consider those conversations and keep that kind of as an open door in terms of tweaks or amendments that are needed. So I just want to thank the Resilience Authority for their willingness to be open and kind of discuss all the alternatives, and then Gann for raising those, and yep, certainly, I'm happy to facilitate. So just wanted to say that publicly. Thank you.
All right, we will now open the public hearing on Bill number 3026 as amended. Madam Secretary, did we receive any testimony through the online testimony tool?
Yes, Madam Chair, we received one piece which was shared with the council, added to the record, and posted to the website.
Okay, we will now call on individuals who signed up ahead of the meeting. When I call your name, please come up to the table and have a seat. When it's your turn, state your name and address for the record. Remarks will be limited to 2 minutes. Please listen for the buzzer and respect the 2-minute time limit as others are signed up to speak. If you have more than 2 minutes to share, I'm going to ask you to submit your additional thoughts as early as tomorrow using our online testimony tool. We had one person sign up ahead of time, Matt Minahan. And if there's anyone else here who wishes to speak on Bill number 3026, you may come up at this time. Mr. Minahan.
Madam Chair, Council, Matt Minahan, Edgewater, Maryland, on behalf of the Growth Action Network. Just following up, again, Councilman Volkey, thank you for your huge help in facilitating the conversation, and also with the Executive Director, Mr. Fleming, as well. He's been very responsive. Listen, we have support for most of what's in this bill. Authorizing the board to hire the Executive Director makes sense. However, we're concerned that the amendment allowing 2 members of the 12 voting members of the board be out of the county or city is a mistake. We believe strongly that the impact and importance of this board to our local community is too important to dilute the local focus provided by local residents. We also believe the authority has done an excellent job of acquiring grant funding such that the size of the overall program is very impressive and significant to our local environment. But with that size comes additional risk, which further emphasizes the need for close local control. We'd like the council to consider an amendment that would allow board members from outside the county or city only to serve as non-voting members of the Resilience Authority Board. We believe the authority has been successful because of its hyper-local focus, which would be a casualty of a diluted board. Allow the board to have as many members as needed from outside the county or the city. They may well have specialized knowledge or technical expertise on matters that the board feels are important, but the decisions about what to do and where to do it in this county and city belong in the hands of the people who know the place and what it needs. There's also some talk about having donors on this board, and we think that's a really bad idea. This is not a typical nonprofit that's out seeking philanthropy. This could contribute to self-dealing and other kinds of problems. So we hope that is no longer part of the conversation. And thanks again, Mr. Volkey and Mr. Fleming. We look forward to more.
Thank you, Mr. Minahan. Yes, sir.
Is it on? Good evening. Chair, members of the County Council. My name is Bill Davidson. I am speaking on behalf of the Bay Ridge Civic Association. I also coordinate Bay Ridge's shoreline and erosion control efforts, where I work with residents and local agencies to address flooding, erosion, and other resiliency challenges that directly affect our community. As a waterfront community, Bay Ridge understands the importance of regional cooperation. We value the experience of neighboring jurisdictions, environmental organizations, engineers, and other resiliency professionals. Their knowledge is essential to developing effective solutions. However, the long-term success of the Anne Arundel County Resiliency Authority depends on maintaining strong resident and community representation in its governance. The authority was created to serve Anne Arundel County residents and taxpayers, and those residents must continue to have a strong voice in setting priorities and making decisions about residents' resilience investments. The amendment to Bill 3026 strikes an appropriate balance. It allows the authority to benefit from outside expertise and regional collaboration while ensuring that voters' authority remains with individuals who are accountable to Anne Arundel County communities. As someone who works closely with residents facing the impacts of shoreline erosion and flooding, I can tell you that public trust matters. People are more likely to trust resiliency projects when they know that their voices are represented and their concerns are being heard. Strong community representation combined with expert guidance will make the Resiliency Authority more effective, more accountable, and more successful in fulfilling its mission. On behalf of the Bay Ridge Civic Association, I respectfully urge your support for Bill 3026 and as amended. And as a personal note, I want to thank you all for your public service. I know this job takes a huge chunk out of your lives. I mean that.
Thank you, sir. So, is there anyone else who wishes to speak on Bill number 3026 at this time? Seeing no movement, the public hearing on Bill number 3026 is now closed. Madam Secretary, please read the title of Bill number 3026 as amended.
Bill number 3026, an ordinance concerning boards, commissions, and similar bodies, Resilience Authority of Annapolis and Anne Arundel County Membership Director.
Okay. Any further discussion? Mr. Volkey?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to address a couple of the comments from Mr. Minahan because I agree with a lot of them, but we've sort of landed where we've landed, if that makes sense. And so what I mean by that is just first about the donors. I've not heard about that. I actually looked at Mr. Fleming at the moment you said that. I think we both sort of were a little confused. I've not heard that part of the discussion, and I don't think I agree with you that would be inappropriate. I think the Resilience Authority, excuse me, who are focused on resiliency, by the way, they would think it was inappropriate as well. As for the number on the board, I think everybody saw publicly, both myself and Councilwoman Pickard were, sort of drilling down on that a couple meetings ago. Mr. Fleming went back, talked to the board. Ultimately, it was a Resilience Authority board prerogative or preference that it be allowing some people who are outside people to be able to serve. I will tell you 10 out of 12 will have to be Anne Arundel County residents. That's 83%. I did the math real quick just to make sure I was right. And so I think that's more than a supermajority, and that does sort of guarantee all of us that we will continue to have an Anne Arundel County focus in terms of things that they do. So I feel comfortable with that, though I agree with you. I would have preferred for it to be 100% Anne Arundel County residents, but I think we've struck the balance that the board appreciates, that I think we can get forward and this body can approve, hopefully. And if there's a problem, again, as we've talked about, I know the focus from the people that I've talked to on the Resilience Authority is going to be, okay, then we need to address that. What do we do? Because our idea, we had talked about ex officio members, bringing people in a non-voting capacity but advisory, and this was the preference of the actual board themselves, so we're trying to respect that. So just wanted to address a couple of those items and let you know we had considered them, and this is why we landed where we did. Certainly.
Ms. Rabian?
I'm so sorry, I keep heading.
Okay. Any further discussion? All right. Madam Secretary, please call the roll on Bill number 3026 as amended.
Ms. Ledbetter?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Ms. Pickard?
Aye.
Mr. Volkey?
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler?
Aye.
Ms. Rodvian?
Aye.
And Ms. Hummer?
Aye.
7 in the affirmative, none in the negative. Bill number 3026 as amended has passed.
Madam Secretary, please read the title of Bill number 4926.
Bill number 4926, an ordinance concerning zoning, parking, outdoor lighting, and signage, signs.
Ms. Fiedler, this is your bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This bill is pretty simple, 2 lines of legislation that was actually discussed at the conclusion of the sign codification update that we did at the end of 2025. This is also a hangover from the small business bill that passed a few years ago, where there was some concern about increasing the sign size for small businesses. In District 6 specifically, there was a very residential area over in Annapolis. So this allows for an increase in sign size from 30 square feet to 50 square feet if on Route 2. I do have an amendment at the appropriate time after hearing from the administration. The way that the language reads currently is that except that a sign on Ritchie Highway, that was not the intent of the language. The language was that a sign is on a property that is on Ritchie Highway, not that the sign is actually on Ritchie Highway. So that had to be clarified. And then just some clarifying language about abutting the Route 2. And I think we will have public hearing and hear from the administration.
Mr. Hunt?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ethan Hunt for the administration. With me, I have Lori Blair-Klossmeyer, Deputy County Attorney, and Lynn Miller, our Assistant Planning and Zoning Officer. I appreciate the outreach on this bill. I think we're comfortable with it. Our preference would be that this property owner seek a variance rather than amending the sign code, but this is where we are. So I can turn it over to Ms. Miller if she has anything else that she would like to add. Or okay, happy to answer any questions.
All right, is there any further discussion? We will now open the public hearing on Bill number 4926. Madam Secretary, did we receive any testimony through the online testimony tool?
Yes, Madam Chair. We received 41 pieces, which were shared with the council, added to the record, and posted to the website.
No one signed up ahead of time. Is there anyone here who wishes to speak on Bill number 4926? So you may come up at this time.
Paul Arcan, 195 Ritchie Highway in Severna Park. And I guess I'm the person who is causing all the problems about it. But we're just seeking on Ritchie Highway, 60,000 cars a day, about 50 miles an hour go past the property. We have commercial property is our next door neighbor, about 13 acres. It's going to be commercial. Across the street is woods with Welcome to Severna Park sign, giant sign right across the street from us. And as we started to look at the sign, we did a, we held one out there at the 30 square foot. You could barely see it as you're driving down past it. So I sought some, how do we can fix this? And we tried to narrow it to a very small place of Ritchie Highway. So it seems pretty simple. I would ask the council to support it. I don't think it's going to cause the Vegas Strip and, New York, Times Square signage in the county. I don't want that either, but I think it'll be very narrow. I think it only affects a couple properties, if that. So I love all of you. I'm going to be sad to see some of you go. You've become regular, people in my house. My wife and daughter know y'all well, not because they were seeking to, but because I watch everything y'all do. So thank you very much. But that's it. If you could just support it, that would be good.
Thank you. Ms. Carr-York.
Carr-York, President, Greater Severna Park Council. These blocks of Ritchie Highway are right in the heart of Severna Park's most residential part of Ritchie Highway. For those of you who are not familiar with it, it's not like what you would imagine the Severna Park business district is, down around McKinsey up to Robinson, where you have all the big stores, shopping centers, and so forth. This is up north, and it is primarily by history a residential area. We appreciate the creation of the small business district and the fact that it's been allowed to continue. We just ask that we not allow too much creep in the size of these signs, because the people who still live there are concerned. We are not asking you to oppose this bill, although we have reservations. We just appreciate the consideration for maintaining that small business district designation so that the folks who live there can continue to have a residential environment. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Carr-York. The public hearing on Bill number 4926 is now closed. Madam Secretary, please read the title of Bill number 4926.
Bill number 4926, an ordinance concerning zoning, parking, outdoor lighting, and signage, signs.
Okay, is there any further discussion before we move forward with the amendment? Ms. Ledbetter?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just to make sure, for the record, that we're very clear, because Maryland Route 2 does run through District 7 as well, although I don't know that anyone calls that section of Route 2 Ritchie Highway. I just want to make sure, and this might be for Ms. Miller, it might be for the sponsor, that this is going to be exclusive to the District 5 area, the way the bill is written, is my understanding.
Correct. I believe Route 2, once it crosses the Severn River, becomes Solomon's Island Road.
Yeah, that's my understanding as well. Just want to make no room for doubt. Thank you.
Okay. All right. There is one amendment. Madam Secretary, please read amendment number 1.
Amendment number 1. This amendment requires that the establishment or use fronts Ritchie Highway. And I just want to let you know that anybody in the audience, we did do a quick little verbiage change, and so there should be copies out in the vestibule if you are interested.
Okay. Ms. Fiedler?
Then, thank you, Madam Secretary, for that clarification. Yes, this amendment does exactly what I was alluding to a few minutes ago. It corrects the language that the sign is on Ritchie. It's actually on a property, and that it is a property that has frontage on Ritchie Highway Route 2. Okay. Motion to adopt.
Mr. Hunt?
We support it. We think it adds some good clarification to the bill.
Is there any more discussion? Madam Secretary, please call the roll on amendment number 1.
Ms. Ledbetter?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Ms. Pickard?
Aye.
Mr. Volkey?
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler?
Aye.
Ms. Radvian?
Aye.
And Ms. Hummer?
Aye.
7 in the affirmative, none in the negative. Amendment number 1 has been adopted.
Bill number 4926 as amended will be heard on July 6, 2026. Madam Secretary, please read the title of Bill number 5026.
Bill number 5026, an ordinance concerning pensions, retirement plans, personnel, classification and pay plans, classified service and exempt service, public ethics, financial disclosure.
Mr. Hunt?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ethan Hunt for the administration. With me, I have Lori Blair Klossmeyer, our Deputy County Attorney, Ann Badowski, our Personnel Officer, and Jackie Atkinson, our Assistant Personnel Officer. Bill 5026 is the annual personnel and pay plan that we do every year. The Anne Arundel County Code requires the personnel officer to prepare a classification plan for all the positions in the classified service and present it to the county council annually by ordinance. I'm not going to go through the entire bill. There's about 7 pages of summary in the legislative summary identifying what everything that the bill does. But just briefly, there are 5 exhibits to the bill. Exhibit A is the personnel officer's classification plan for the classified service, which is dated July 1, 2026. Exhibit B is the pay plan for the classified service. Exhibit C is the pay plan for the exempt service. Exhibit D is the pay plan for the court and state's attorney. And Exhibit E is the pay plan for the Soil Conservation District employees. And I can turn it over to Ms. Badowski if she wants to expound a little bit.
You did a great job. Thank you very much.
All right. Is there any discussion? Okay, we will now open the public hearing on Bill number 5026. Madam Secretary, did we receive any testimony through the online testimony tool?
No, Madam Chair, we did not.
Okay, no one signed up ahead of time. Is there anyone here who wishes to speak on Bill number 5026? Seeing no movement, the public hearing on Bill number 5026 is now closed. Madam Secretary, please read the title of Bill number 5026.
Bill number 5026, an ordinance concerning pensions, retirement plans, personnel, classification and pay plans, classified service and exempt service, public ethics, financial disclosure.
Okay, any further discussion? All right. Madam Secretary, please call the roll on Bill number 5026.
Ms. Ledbetter?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Ms. Pickard?
Aye.
Mr. Volkey?
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler?
Aye.
Ms. Radvian?
Aye.
And Ms. Hummer?
Aye.
7 in the affirmative, none in the negative. Bill number 5026 is passed.
Thank you. Y'all sat here for a while to have us ask no questions. There we go. Madam Secretary, please read the title of Resolution number 1426.
Resolution number 1426, resolution proposing an amendment to the Charter of Anne Arundel County to establish the county attorney position as a joint appointment between the county executive and the county council, provide the appointment and removal of the joint appointment, and clarify the role of the county attorney as a general counsel to both branches of government.
So this charter amendment came out of, we had an ad hoc personnel committee and some outside counsel study that was done. This was a recommendation from them. I think we shared this before. We were under the impression, as we have been in the past, that charter amendments were not due to the state for review for the ballot until later in July. And we received just very recently notice that they had to be in by July 1st, which has made us have to speed up some of these. And I don't believe some of them we were able to give quite the time and things that we need to do for that. On this one, there's been some concern raised about some of the wording and some of the legality of what we can do. And while I still believe this is important and we need to have this, I personally don't feel at this time we're ready for this. It needs to have more, and it may be something that we would want to bring back in a couple of years when we have it, when we can look further into this and with the state. So at this time, I am going to withdraw this unless somebody else wants to put it forward. But as I said, I want us to continue looking at this, but I think at this time we need to delve in a little further before we move on. So can I can just withdraw, right? Okay, so we are going to withdraw resolution number 1426 at this time. Madam Secretary, please read the title of resolution number 1526.
Resolution number 1526, resolution proposing an amendment to the Charter of Anne Arundel County to remove specific position titles from the officers appointed by the council.
This is also a recommendation we received from our ad hoc committee. And it's specifically right now in the charter, we have specific officers for the county council that are listed as being appointed. This is just to give us the flexibility in the future if officer names change or positions change, that we would not have to do a complete charter change to get that done. We have no intention right at this particular moment of making those changes, but we would like to have the flexibility, if necessary, to do it in the future. So that is why this amendment is coming forward. Mr. Hunt, does the administration have any opinion on this one?
We do not have an opinion on this one. This is a council decision.
That is true. Is there any discussion from the council? Ms. Rabian?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Would the intent be to put those titles at least in the code, in the county code?
Correct. So we would be, and that is much easier for us to do, especially if we are changing or making modifications to our county staffing in any way, that we can do it through the code rather than have to do a charter change, which we can only do every 2 years.
Right. Thank you very much.
Okay. Any other comments? All right, we will now open the public hearing on resolution number 1526. Madam Secretary, did we receive any testimony through the online testimony tool?
No, Madam Chair, we did not.
Okay, no one signed up ahead of time. Is there anyone here who wishes to speak on resolution number 1526? Seeing no movement, the public hearing on resolution number 1526 is now closed. Madam Secretary, please read the title of resolution number 1526.
Resolution number 1526, resolution proposing an amendment to the Charter of Anne Arundel County to remove specific position titles from the officers appointed by the council.
Okay, any further discussion? Madam Secretary, please call the roll on resolution number 1526.
Ms. Ledbetter?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Ms. Pickard?
Aye.
Mr. Volkey?
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler?
Aye.
Ms. Radvian?
Aye.
And Ms. Hummer?
Aye.
7 in the affirmative, none in the negative. Resolution number 1526 has been adopted.
And just for the public's knowledge, when we put forth a resolution for a charter amendment, that is for it to appear on the ballot, and it does take 5 votes on the council in order to pass that for it to appear on the ballot. And this one passed 7-0, so it will appear on the ballot come November. Madam Secretary, please read a resolution number 1626.
I apologize for how long it is. Please give me a moment.
Okay.
Resolution number 1626, resolution confirming the appointment of a professional firefighter who is a member of the classified service to serve on the Pension Oversight Commission for Anne Arundel County. Whereas Section 606A of the Charter provides that there shall be a Pension Oversight Commission that is independent of both legislative and executive branches of the county government. And whereas Section 606B1 of the Charter provides that the Pension Oversight Commission shall consist of 9 members appointed by the county executive and confirmed by resolution of the county council. And whereas Section 606B3 of the Charter provides that 1 member shall be a professional firefighter and is selected from a list of members of the classified service nominated by secret ballot by members of the classified service. And whereas Section 606C1 of the Charter provides that the term of a member shall be 4 years. And whereas Section 606C4 of the Charter provides that a person may not serve for more than 2 terms as a member of the Pension Oversight Commission Commission. And whereas the term of a professional firefighter who is a member of the classified service has expired, and whereas the county executive, subject to confirmation by the county council, has appointed classified service member Stephen Orlowski, a professional firefighter who is a member of the classified service, to serve a term commencing on July 1st, 2026, and expiring on June 30th, 2030. And whereas the county council finds that Stephen Orlowski meets the eligibility requirements under Section 606B3 of the Charter and is qualified to serve on the Pension Oversight Commission. Now therefore be it resolved by the County Council of Anne Arundel County, Maryland, that it hereby approves the appointment to the Pension Oversight Commission of Stephen Orlowski, a professional firefighter who is a member of the classified service, to an initial term commencing on July 1st, 2026 and expiring on June 30th, 2030. And be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be sent to County Executive Stuart Pittman and to Vincent Carbonaro, Chair, Pension Oversight Commission.
Take a breath. There we go. All right. Mr. Hunt.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ethan Hunt for the administration. I have Lori Blair Klossmeyer, our Deputy County Attorney, and Ann Badowski is still here as well if any questions come up. But this resolution is to appoint Stephen Orlowski, who was chosen by the members of the classified service from the fire department to serve as their appointee on the Pension Oversight Commission.
Okay.
Happy to answer any questions. Resume has been provided to the council.
Okay. Is there any discussion? All right. Madam Secretary, please call the roll on resolution number 1626.
Ms. Ledbetter.
Aye.
Mr. Smith.
Aye.
Ms. Pickard.
Aye.
Mr. Volkey.
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler.
Aye.
Ms. Rodvian.
Aye.
And Ms. Hummer.
Aye.
7 in the affirmative, none in the negative. Resolution number 1626 has been adopted.
Madam Secretary, please read resolution number 1726.
Resolution number 1726, resolution approving appointments to the Board of Trustees for the Anne Arundel County Retirement and Pension System. Whereas Section 52104 of the Anne Arundel County Code provides that there is a Board of Trustees for the Anne Arundel County Retirement and Pension System, and whereas Section 52105A7 of the Anne Arundel County Code provides that 3 of the trustees shall be residents of the county, may not be employees of the county, may not be participants in any of the retirement or pension plans governed by the Board of Trustees, and shall be knowledgeable in the administration and operations of pension systems and trust funds. And whereas Section 52105C of the Anne Arundel County Code provides that these 3 trustees shall be appointed by the county executive with the approval of the county council given by resolution. And whereas Section 52105E of the Anne Arundel County Code provides that these 3 trustees shall serve terms of 3 years. And whereas Mary Lou Hughes completed a term as one of the 3 trustees described in Section 52105A7 on April 30th, 2023, and has continued to serve because no successor has been appointed. And whereas Mary Kathleen Sulik completed a term as one of the 3 trustees described in Section 52105A7 on April 30th, 2024, and has continued to serve because no successor has been appointed. And whereas Alan J. Hyatt completed a term of one of the 3 trustees described in 52105A7 on December 1st, 2024, and has continued to serve because no successor has been appointed. And whereas the county executive, subject to the approval of the county council, has reappointed Mary Lou Hughes to a term beginning on May 1, 2026 and expiring on April 30th, 2029, reappointed Mary Kathleen Sulik to the remainder of a term expired on April 30th, 2027, and reappointed Alan J. Hyatt to the remainder of the term expiring on December 1st, 2027. And whereas the county council finds that Mary Lou Hughes, Mary Kathleen Sulik, and Alan J. Hyatt meet the eligibility requirements under Section 52105 of the Anne Arundel County Code and are qualified to serve on the Board of Trustees. Now therefore be it resolved by the County Council of Anne Arundel County, Maryland, that it hereby approves the reappointment of Mary Lou Hughes to a term beginning on May 1, 2026 and expiring on April 30th, 2029, Mary Kathleen Sulik the remainder of a term expiring on April 30th, 2027, and Alan J. Hyatt to a remainder of the term expiring on December 1st, 2027. And be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be sent to Stuart Pittman, County Executive, Mary Lou Hughes, Trustee, Mary Kathleen Sulik, Trustee, Alan J. Hyatt, Trustee, and Christine Anderson, Chair, Board of Trustees for the Anne Arundel County Retirement and Pension System.
Whew, there we go. Mr. Hunt.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ethan Hunt for the administration. Again, I have Lori Blair Klossmeyer, Deputy County Attorney, and Ann Badowski in the audience. This resolution simply reappoints 3 members to the Anne Arundel County Retirement and Pension System Board of Trustees.
Which one are we on? Okay.
Happy to answer any questions.
Is there any discussion? All right. Madam Secretary, please call the roll on resolution number 1726.
Ms. Ledbetter.
Aye.
Mr. Smith.
Aye.
Ms. Pickard.
Aye.
Mr. Volkey.
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler.
Aye.
Ms. Rodvian.
Aye.
And Ms. Hummer.
Aye.
7 in the affirmative, none in the negative. Resolution number 1726 has been adopted.
Madam Secretary, please read resolution number 1826.
Resolution number 1826, resolution proposing an amendment to the Charter of Anne Arundel County to establish staggered terms for the appointees to the Planning Advisory Board and to require County Council confirmation of the county executive appointments to the Planning Advisory Board. Be it resolved by the County Council of Anne Arundel County that the following amendment to the Anne Arundel County Charter is proposed for submission to the qualified voters of the county at the general election in November 2026. Section 532, the Planning Advisory Board. There shall be a Planning Advisory Board consisting of 7 qualified voters appointed by the county executive and confirmed by resolution of the county council. Beginning in December of 2026, 1 member shall be appointed to a 1-year term, 2 members shall be appointed to 2-year terms, 2 members shall be appointed to 3-year terms, and 2 members shall be appointed to 4-year terms. Thereafter, members shall be appointed to 4-year terms. Members of the board shall receive no compensation for their services except reasonable and necessary expenses as may be provided in the budget. Vacancies shall be filled in the manner of original appointment. The county executive shall designate a member as chair. And be it further resolved that the following question is adopted for submittal to the qualified voters of the county at the general election in November 2026 for their adoption or rejection. To amend the Anne Arundel County Charter to establish staggered terms for the appointees to the Planning Advisory Board and to require the county council confirmation of county executive appointments to the Planning Advisory Board. And be it further resolved that this question shall be designated as question to be determined on the ballot of the general election in November 2026. And be it further resolved that if the majority of qualified votes cast in the election are for the charter amendment, this amendment shall stand adopted from and after the 30th day following the election.
So this resolution came from discussions and recommendations from the Growth Action Network. The Planning Advisory Board is a crucial part of our citizens who weigh in on land use and development issues in the county, and many of them have great historical knowledge. And currently, the Planning Advisory Board members are coterminous with the county executive, meaning their terms end when a county executive's term ends and an entirely new board is appointed. So we lose a great deal of that historical knowledge. So to me, this is a good governance measure that we would be able to stagger the terms so that the new county executives would be able to appoint new people, but it would also keep on some of the great expertise that we have on there. It would also allow these appointments would still be made by the county executive, but approved by the county council. So administration?
We're comfortable with this. I think staggered terms is good to keep some institutional knowledge.
Okay. Is there any discussion? Mr. Volke?
Yeah, I'm more interested in the council oversight piece of it than the staggered terms. I think the institutional knowledge concept, you and I talked about this earlier, I'll just say it for public awareness. I think that the county executive, though I disagree with many, many, many things that he does, has appointed some good people to the Planning Advisory Board. And some of them are people that are, I would look at and go, well, they are a Democrat, but there's somebody who has their head on straight, I think, and is doing a great job. And I know some of them. So I just say that because I'm not convinced that write that down. But I'm not convinced that the staggered terms is going to make a massive change in terms of who we have or what the institutional knowledge is, because I do think there has been a strong awareness that this is a big time commitment and you really need people who are active and willing to be involved to do it. But I really like the piece where the council has some oversight, because I do think that as a check and balance against the executive, which is something that this council and the prior council really have made a prerogative to go forward with and been one of our hallmarks, I think. I like that piece of it. So that is what will get my support, in addition to the staggered terms, which I think are not necessarily moving the needle one way or the other, but I do think that they are a good help at least. So I just say that because I've had conversations with Mr. Minahan, and I want you to know I remember.
All right. Is there any other discussion?
Madam Chair.
Ms. Pickard.
Thank you. I know this is due to the Board of Elections asking for these a little sooner than we thought. We haven't had a lot of time to contemplate this, but I'm going to agree with my colleague to the right in several ways. But I do like the check and balance very much. We're seeing less of that in our federal partners, so I think to remain a robust local governance, I think it's a great move for this body, and I look forward to voting aye on this charter amendment.
All right. No further comments? All right. Madam Secretary, please call the roll on resolution number 1826.
Ms. Ledbetter?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Ms. Pickard?
Aye.
Mr. Volkey?
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler?
Aye.
Ms. Radvian?
Aye.
And Ms. Hummer?
Aye.
7 in the affirmative, none in the negative. Resolution number 1826 has been adopted.
All right. At this time, we will discuss the county executive's vetoes to amendments numbers 3, 10, 12, 13, 15, 16, and 17 to Bill number 1826, Comprehensive Zoning Region 5, which this council passed on June 1st. Via the county charter, the county council may discuss or override any comprehensive zoning veto at its next legislative session following the veto, which is why we are discussing it this evening. On June 5th, the county executive sent the county council a letter issuing vetoes to amendments number 3, 10, 12, 13, 15, 16, and 17. The county executive's veto to amendment number 3 keeps the zoning of the property known as parcel 274 on tax map 36 located at 1079A Maryland Route 3, North Lane, Gambrels, as R5 residential and C2 commercial office instead of zoning the property as C4 highway commercial. Does any council member wish to make a statement about this veto? Ms. Ledbetter.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Motion to override the veto on Amendment 3.
Second.
A second. All right. Madam Secretary, please call the roll on the, does anyone care to make a statement? Mr. Volkey?
Just another example of the county executive's sour grapes when he doesn't like what we do. So, I hope this body stands and says, we had a robust debate about this. We had a robust consideration on all of these. We heard a lot of public testimony on every one of these individual items. These were some of them that stood out the most. I could talk about how I see this politically motivated from the county executive. That'd be an interesting discussion, but I don't think that we need to have it here because I think people paying attention can see through that and see it pretty clearly. That said, I think that this body, let's just handle what we do and move forward in the way that we've already spoken and done the things that we have already given our reasons for why we do them.
Okay. Ms. Pickard.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Once again, I'm going to agree with my colleague. We have debated these amendments tremendously, and we took the council members who brought them forward, took careful consideration, and we had hours of debate with the administration, with long-range planning, and I have not seen any new information come to light after a supermajority of the council voted to uphold these. So I don't see any real reason to belabor these vetoes. I also don't see any reason why we would uphold them.
Not. Ms. Rodvian.
I did have
a question. Okay. All right. Madam Secretary, please call the roll on amendment number 3.
We will be calling the roll on the motion to override the amendment, and then we'll have to take a second vote on the actual amendment.
I'm sorry. My bad. I missed that. Okay. Madam Secretary, please call the roll on the motion to override the veto of amendment number 3 to bill number 1826.
Ms. Ledbetter.
Just to make sure, because this always gets me, if I want the motion to pass, I'm an aye.
Correct. And then when you want to adopt the amendment again, you are also an aye.
Thank you, Madam Secretary.
You're welcome.
Aye.
Mr. Smith.
Aye.
Ms. Pickard.
Aye.
Mr. Volkey.
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler.
Aye.
And Ms. Radvian.
Aye.
And Ms. Hummer.
Aye.
7 in the affirmative, none in the negative. The motion to override amendment number 3 has passed.
Okay. Madam Secretary, please call the roll on amendment number 3.
Ms. Ledbetter.
Aye.
Mr. Smith.
Aye.
Ms. Pickard.
Aye.
Mr. Volkey.
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler.
Aye.
Ms. Radvian.
Aye.
And Ms. Hummer.
Aye.
7 in the affirmative, none in the negative. Amendment number 3 has been adopted again.
All right. Madam Secretary, oh, no, I'm sorry. Go on. The county executive's veto to amendment number 10 keeps the zoning of the property known as Parcel 10 on tax map 42 located at no number Myers Station Road as RA Rural Agricultural instead of zoning the property as R1 Residential. This was my amendment. The council discussed this amendment at length and specifically crafted the land use to be such that even though the property will be zoned R1 for 27 acres, at the most, only 9 homes could be built there in a community neighborhood cluster. The remaining land will be protected under conservation and expand our greenways. This addresses Plan 2040 Policy NE 3.2, continue expanding the network of protected corridors of woodlands and open space as set forth in the Greenways Master Plan, while still meeting Goal BE 11, which is provide a variety of housing types and designs to allow all residents housing choices at different stages of life and at all income levels. May I have, I make a motion to override the veto. Do I have a second? Madam Secretary, please call the roll on the motion to override the veto of Amendment Number 10 to Bill Number 1826.
Ms. Ledbetter?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Ms. Pickard?
Aye.
Mr. Volkey?
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler?
Aye.
Ms. Radvian?
Aye.
And Ms. Hummer?
Aye.
7 in the affirmative, none in the negative. The motion to override the veto to Amendment 10 has passed.
Okay, Madam Secretary, please call the roll on Amendment Number 10.
Ms. Ledbetter?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Nay.
Ms. Pickard?
Aye.
Mr. Volkey?
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler?
Aye.
Ms. Radvian?
Aye.
And Ms. Hummer?
Aye.
6 in the affirmative, 1 in the negative. Amendment Number 10 has been adopted.
The county executive's veto to Amendment Number 12 keeps the zoning of the property known as Parcel 105 on Tax Map 42, located at bulk parcel OR and OS 6R off of Grays Ford Road as OS open space instead of zoning the property as R2 residential. My position on this is the same as the statement that I made at the May 18th meeting. So I make a motion to override the veto.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Okay, Madam Secretary, please call the roll on the motion to override the veto of Amendment Number 12 to Bill Number 1826.
Ms. Ledbetter?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Ms. Pickard?
Aye.
Mr. Volkey?
I'm just going to clarify something that I think Ms. Hummer said before I vote, which is the amendment changed the property to R2 residential. I think the county executive wanted it to be OS, but we kept it as what it was zoned before. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay, yep, I'm an aye.
Ms. Fiedler?
Aye.
Ms. Radvian?
Nay.
And Ms. Hummer?
Aye.
6 in the affirmative, 1 in the negative. The motion to override Amendment Number 12 has been adopted.
Madam Secretary, please call the roll on Amendment Number 12.
Ms. Ledbetter?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Can you just confirm, where was this property at again? I'm just trying to locate the...
This is the parcel of land that's a portion of Two Rivers development.
Nay.
Ms. Pickard?
Aye.
Mr. Volkey?
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler?
Aye.
Ms. Radvian?
Nay.
And Ms. Hummer?
Aye.
5 in the affirmative, 2 in the negative. Amendment Number 12 has been adopted.
The county executive's veto to Amendment Number 13 keeps the zoning of the property known as Parcel 6, parts of Lots 1, 2, and 3 on Tax Map 37 located at No Number, Crane Highway, North Lane, Gambrels as C2 Commercial Office instead of zoning the property as C4 Highway Commercial. Ms. Rodvian, this was your amendment. Do you wish to make a motion?
I do not.
Okay. Is there anyone that would like to make a motion to override this veto? Mr. Volkey?
Yeah, I'll move it.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. And Madam Secretary, please call the roll on the motion to override the veto of Amendment Number 13 to Bill Number 1826.
Ms. Ledbetter?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Ms. Pickard?
Aye.
Mr. Volkey?
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler? Ms. Radvian?
Nay.
And Ms. Hummer?
Aye.
6 in the affirmative, 1 in the negative. The motion to override Amendment Number 13 has passed.
Madam Secretary, please call the roll on Amendment Number 13.
Ms. Ledbetter?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
And just to confirm, is this which property, where's this one located at?
This is on Route 3. This is a parcel on Route 3.
It was the commercial property that was in front of the residential property that we compromised on.
Aye.
Ms. Pickard?
Aye.
Mr. Volkey?
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler?
Aye.
Ms. Rodvian?
Nay.
And Ms. Hummer?
Aye.
6 in the affirmative, 1 in the negative. Amendment number 13 has been adopted.
The county's executive's veto to amendment number 15 keeps the zoning of the property known as parcel 71, lot 2 on tax map 37, located at no number Brandy Farms Lane, Gambrels, as RLD residential low density instead of zoning the property as R2 residential. This amendment was an excellent example of collaboration and compromise. The first attempt at this amendment was opposed by the neighbors as being out of character with the surrounding communities. The owner resubmitted a new request for R2, which the community then came out in support of, as it would match the existing zoning density of the nearby neighborhoods. Owners, council, and neighbors worked together to achieve a result that will bring much-needed housing, including moderately priced dwelling units, to a desirable part of the county. I am at a loss as to why the county executive would veto an amendment that showcases the best of collaborative work and increases our attainable housing options. I have a motion to override the veto. So, Madam Secretary, please call the roll on the motion to override the veto of amendment number 15 to bill number 1826.
Ms. Ledbetter?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Ms. Pickard?
Aye.
Mr. Volkey?
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler?
Aye.
Ms. Rodvian?
Aye.
And Ms. Hummer?
Aye.
7 in the affirmative, none in the negative. The motion to override the veto to Amendment 15 has passed.
The county executive's veto to amendment number 16 keeps the zoning of the properties.
Madam
in it-
Chair, I'm
Oh.
sorry, we need to vote on the actual
Oh,
amendment.
I'm sorry, I skipped that. Okay, it's all blending together for me. Madam Secretary, please call the roll on amendment number 15.
Ms. Ledbetter?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Ms. Pickard?
Aye.
Mr. Volkey?
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler?
Aye.
Ms. Rodvian?
Aye.
And Ms. Hummer?
Aye.
7 in the affirmative, none in the negative. Amendment number 15 has been adopted.
The county executive's veto to amendment number 16 keeps the zoning of the properties known as parcel 76, units 1, 2, and 3 on tax map 36, located at 1074, 1072, and 1076 Maryland Route 3 South Lane, Gambrels, as MXDN neighborhood mixed use and C3 commercial office instead of zoning the properties as C4 highway commercial. This property currently has a commercial business and housing for elderly residents of moderate means. They are beginning the process to build an additional affordable multifamily building, and this change allows flexibility for construction of that building. It meets the goals of this administration and Plan 2040 to offer multiple housing types for people at all income levels, particularly our lowest income residents. As this is an off-stated goal of Mr. Pittman, again, I'm at a loss as to why it was vetoed. May I make a motion to override the veto?
Second.
Madam Secretary, please call the roll on the motion to override the veto of amendment number 16 to bill number 1826.
Ms. Ledbetter?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Ms. Pickard?
Aye.
Mr. Volkey?
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler?
Aye.
Ms. Rodvian?
Aye.
And Ms. Hummer?
Aye.
7 in the affirmative, none in the negative. The motion to override the veto to Amendment 16 has passed.
Madam Secretary, please call the roll on amendment number 16.
Ms. Ledbetter?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Ms. Pickard?
Aye.
Mr. Volkey?
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler?
Aye.
Ms. Rodvian?
Aye.
And Ms. Hummer?
Aye.
7 in the affirmative, none in the negative. Amendment number 16 has been adopted.
The county executive's veto to amendment number 17 keeps the zoning of the property known as parcel 275 on tax map 36, located at 1079 Maryland Route 3 North Lane, Gambrels, as R5 residential and C2 commercial office instead of zoning the property as C4 highway commercial. Ms. Ledbetter?
Thank you, Madam Chair. My reasons remain the same for when this amendment originally passed. Motion to override the veto on amendment number 17.
Second.
Okay. Madam Secretary, please call the roll on the motion to override the veto of amendment number 17 to bill number 1826.
Ms. Ledbetter?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Ms. Pickard?
Aye.
Mr. Volkey?
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler?
Aye.
Ms. Rodvian?
Aye.
And Ms. Hummer?
Aye.
7 in the affirmative, none in the negative. The motion to override the veto to Amendment 17 has passed.
Madam Secretary, please call the roll on amendment number 17.
Ms. Ledbetter?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Ms. Pickard?
Aye.
Mr. Volkey?
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler?
Aye.
Ms. Rodvian?
Aye.
And Ms. Hummer?
Aye.
7 in the affirmative, none in the negative. Amendment number 17 has been adopted.
Madam Secretary, please share the effective dates of bills number
Madam Chair.
18. Oh, yes.
Can you, for amendment number 10, could record my vote as aye, not nay? I was looking at the wrong one when I presented that.
Yes, Mr. Smith, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right, Madam Secretary, please share the effective dates of Bill number 1826 and the overridden vetoes to the bill.
Bill number 1826 as amended will go into effect on July 20th, 26, and amendment numbers 3, 10, 12, 13, 15, 16, and 17 will go into effect on July 30th, 2026.
Is there any other business any council member would like to bring before the county council at this time? Mr. Smith, I thought that wasn't intentional. Okay, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The county council is adjourned to the public until Monday, July 6, 2026 at 7 p.m. when we will meet for our next regularly scheduled legislative session here in these chambers.